You're watching Palatinate TV.
Hello everyone, I'm Theo, I'm one of the news editors at Palatinate, and we are doing the interviews for the 2021 SU elections. So today we've got Sam Winder, who is running for Opportunities Officer. Sam, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Sam. I'm from Josephine Butler College. I have graduated in computer science and I'm now the Butler JCR president.
Brilliant. Let's crack on into the questions. So I guess the first thing to ask is, why did you decide to run? What about the position appealed to you?
Well, I guess there's kind of two levels to this. The first one is that is just that I care about wider student experience and the opportunities that are on offer at Durham University. With my background in common rooms and with experience with SU societies and things like this and student groups, I really want to see a greater kind of collaborative effort between them and some real understanding of the range of opportunities that Durham has to offer so that everyone can make the most of it. And then on the other hand, secondly, there's the, obviously within the remit of the Opportunities Officer is the Democracy Review. And I'm very well placed to have conversations between our student leaders too, and to facilitate kind of a step forward in terms of their relationship so that we can provide better student experience for all the students in Durham.
Brilliant. So you mentioned your experience with JCR stuff. So I guess, would you like to go into a bit more detail about some of the relevant experience you have for the role?
For sure. And look, I hope you've got a long piece of paper because, look, I first came to Durham University, and this is a top secret, but I used to hate my JCR. I thought it was kind of lame. But then things kind of got better. Me and some friends, we started something called the Biodegrade Brigade to introduce composting to college, because we were told we weren't allowed to, and so we tried to kind of covertly do it. But this ended up becoming a bigger project, and we refounded the Butler allotment. I then got involved in lots of environmental stuff in my first year, and then as I kind of carried on, I got involved in all kinds of other things too, from organising events to overseeing the committees, and of course now to this. So in terms of experience of planning and coordinating groups, I've kind of been around the block a bit there, and then also it'd be dreadful if I didn't mention my favourite. Well, not my favourite. Look, I won't make judgments, but a society that I was particularly fond of last year was the Latin Sodar Society, and ask anyone, I've not stopped talking about it since I joined, and you know, it was a really fun way to be involved in the SU through a student group, and so I've got a bit of experience to being part of these groups.
Brilliant, quite the CV. So I guess coming into the role, is there anything that you think you do differently from your predecessor? Is there anything that you think you'd like to change with the position? Well,
I think Anna and I, for example, have slightly different approaches. Something that Anna really focused on was the environment, and as I mentioned to you just now, I do have an interest in that, though it's not the main thing that I'm coming in with. So I'd like to build on what she's done this year, which I think has been really positive, but it won't be the focus of my time. I think similarly, we both have. Both obviously have taken an interest in the Democracy Review and the SU's kind of new democracy. So in terms of approach, I think it's pretty similar. I think we both care about communication between our student leaders improving, and that reflecting in the opportunities that are here to offer. And so, you know, I'm coming from a JCR president's shoes, and hopefully can really have direct conversations and frequent conversations with common rooms about how they feel about the Democracy Review and its progress, as well as the wider student population too.
Gotcha. Okay. So we touched briefly on the Democracy Review there. I guess, would you be interested in sharing your thoughts on some of the results and how you think the process went?
Well, I think the process hasn't gone kind of past tense. It's something that's still going, and this is a main thing that I'll talk about in my campaign. That as we come to the end of the year and into the next, we really need to test drive it and put it to the test. Make sure we're vigorous with it. By the end of the year, we should have an idea of some of the structures that we can think about adopting for our student union's democracy. But once that's chosen, it's not the end. We have to refine it. We have to continue working on it, and we have to continue having conversations about it. So I see the process as very much ongoing, and I think to try and reflect too much on how it was would be to not think ahead enough about what's to come next. I understand there's been criticisms of the approach, but I think these are things that, as student representation improves, we can continue to focus on and iron out.
Gotcha. So do you have any plans in particular for how the student groups committee operates, how it's managed?
Well, for one of the kind of really great things about Durham is the vast kind of range of student groups we have on offer. Something I'd like to see more of amongst our student groups, both within the SU and across common rooms, the local community, and with Experience Durham, is some more collaboration and some more thought about how we can share best practices, especially during these kind of COVID times. And understanding how we've overcome these problems, but also in terms of allowing more kind of competition, more collaboration as well between our groups, and really linking them up so that our leaders understand the context that they sit in, and also our students can understand the range of opportunities available to them and what different sources of opportunities have on offer.
Gotcha. Like, I guess, how do you see that working out? Like, what do you think is the best way to improve communication with like the student groups and associations?
Yeah. Well, I like to see forums in specific categories of things. So, for example, maybe running is a bit of a narrow category, but I'd like to see conversations, for example, held between the captains of running clubs across the university, with our SU student groups. Outside of that, even some local representatives as well, so that they can literally be in a room and understand what each of them are doing, and see chances for competition, collaboration, and all of this stuff.
Gotcha. So last question. It's a bit more personal one. How do you feel about the SU's decision to not fund the Platinate print edition? And I guess how would you feel about the allocation of funds for the next year?
Yeah, well, this is a question that I've been asked actually in my Purple Radio interview.
Okay.
Obviously, I don't feel good about it. I think it's really important to see our student media thrive and hold various organisations in Durham to account and to promote discussion. Ultimately, though, I don't think it's the choice of the Opportunities Officer, and so there's committees behind them, in my understanding, that make these decisions, and it doesn't come down to me. Of course, I'll advocate for sufficient funding for these student groups, and if that funding can't be provided, that a suitable, kind of transparent and communication is shared about it, and hopefully the opportunity to carry on that discussion if it doesn't seem suitable, and to continue to analyse and bring about better solutions, I suppose.
Brilliant. Okay. Thank you very much for the interview.